talking to former guests to see them do even better. When we first spoke to Bahadir Ozdemir just over 2 years ago, his eSIM company Airalo was doing well. They'd just raised $60 million in a Series B funding round led by eAnd. He'd recently moved over to Dubai. But today he comes back in having raised $220 million, and that makes Airalo a unicorn. Mabruk. Ahmed, it's lovely to see you and well done.
Well, thank you so much, Brenda. It's amazing to be here again.
For those of us without the long-term memory of a unicorn or other animals, remind us what Airalo does, how it works.
Sure. So Airalo was born with the idea of fixing the broken travel connectivity. Today, when people go to different countries, they use roaming, they buy SIM cards, they are silent roamers, which means they never use data. So Airalo believes that with the eSIM technology, which happened to come around 2019, we believe we can unify the experience of staying connected globally. And that's basically how Airalo was born.
Okay. So where are you now in take-up? What kind of usership have you got?
So we passed 20 million customers a couple of weeks ago, and we are growing. I would say 1 to 1.5 million customers adding monthly. So it's growing really fast.
What has pushed you over to unicorn status, do you think? What has taken you from a successful startup to one that can raise enough money to be worth $1 billion plus?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I like to think Airalo does really well, you cannot ignore product market fit. So product market fit is the first thing always. Nothing else matters if you do not have product market fit. But I believe what we do really well at Airalo is we never buy into the usual bubble jargons. We are super grounded in that sense. And I always say Airalo, 3-4 years ago, I would say Airalo has the vision of a unicorn, but the metrics of a mama papa shop, which means we will never lose sight of how business actually works. You know, being profitable, EBITDA, gross margins, revenue, these still matter to us. So we have never been the type of company that grows at all costs and works with terms like runways. And I think that's been very helpful, especially in this environment when the investors see a company that is very grounded and very respected, respecting its numbers. I think that's helped us a lot to raise our new round.
When we spoke to you just over 2 years ago, you just raised money,
Yeah.
and one of the big investors there was eAnd, the telecom, which we were surprised by at the time because we would have thought that you were a competitor. What has that eAnd investment and partnership meant for you? How has that played out over the last few years?
Yeah, I think one of the things that the eAnd partnership brought us is connectivity in the region, having access to affordable rates and basically wide coverage, not just in UAE, but in every single country that eAnd is actually present. So it's kind of brought us, I would say, an unfair advantage when it comes to getting connectivity from the countries that might be pretty hard to get or that might be pretty expensive to get. And this has brought us, again, the unfair advantage has always been there because we've been their lovely portfolio company.
What's been the advantage for eAnd in that, though?
Think of it as a price times quantity game. What I mean by this is that you have a lot of silent roamers that go to countries and they don't even touch their phones. Now, what eAnd wins in this is that they have Airalo who sells their connectivity to millions of travelers going to eAnd countries. And these are people who would not probably touch their phones because they are basically afraid of bill shocks. They are basically afraid of roaming of their home telcos. Airalo brings a more peaceful experience to travelers, if I may say. You know that with Airalo there will be no surprises. You know that you will not have a bill shock. You know that you are having a prepaid eSIM. You know how much you are paying. You know how much you are gonna get. So people who never used to use their connectivity are now using their eSIMs because they have a peace of mind.
Is eAnd part of this latest round of funding?
No, eAnd is not.
We're getting a lot of messages in about your service, partly because my colleague has struggled, and I think that probably says a little bit more about him than you. I can say that because he's not in the room at the moment. Tell me though, because people are messaging in about the ability to set it up and use it here in the UAE.
Yes.
You've got the partnership with the EAN. How are you with the regulation and the regulator?
We are. I mean, we are a couple of months away, I would say, from solving the regulatory issues. UAE has its own set of regulations with eSIMs, and basically there are a couple of things that needs to be done to be compliant, and then I'm hopeful that we are going to go live also in UAE.
Right. So you think in a couple of months it'll operate in the UAE like everywhere else?
That's my optimistic hope right now.
If using a service like yours is the cheapest way to travel, why aren't more people doing it?
I think it comes down to, first of all, more awareness. eSIMs are still new. You will think that people are very aware of what it is and how it works, but it is still new, and I think it's a matter of continuous education. Airalo is the forefront. We've always educated people. We've always tried to tell the world that eSIMs exist, but there is just so much to do. Think about it, Brandy. There are 1.2 billion travelers every year going from one country to another. Airalo is the biggest eSIM company, and we have 20 million of them on our platform. Just imagine how many more people there are to tell that eSIMs actually exist. So it's a matter of more awareness, more education.
We've got 1 minute left with you. What's the end goal? I mean, you've raised this money. You've got the kudos, I guess, that comes with the unicorn status. Are you going to stay in your lane and just keep doing the one thing, or are you going to branch out?
I think the vision of Airalo from day one was, I'll give you a little industry secret. eSIMs are mostly, they are cheaper roaming solutions when you think about it. But our vision with Airalo was never to just be a cheaper roaming solution. What we are going to be doing is, my dream was always to build the world's biggest telecom company. So think of it as, when you go to Colombia, eSIM apps enable you to use your connectivity for another 3, 5, 7, 10 days because you are a traveler. But what if you are settling in Colombia for another 3 months, 4 months? Then this eSIM roaming is not going to solve your problem. What you need is an actual Colombian MVNO, a Colombian telecom company. Think of it like a Virgin Mobile in Colombia. So what Airalo does and what we are doing, and it's going to take us a couple of, I would say 1 to 2 years more, but we are building the world's biggest telecom company so that you don't only use us for travel, but also locally.
All right. More on that to come. Bahadir Ozdemir, our unicorn this morning from Airalo. Thank you for your time.